When I was a child, I always saw Grandma wearing this old gold necklace. It was simple, nothing fancy, just a small heart pendant that she never took off. No matter the occasion, she even wore it to sleep. I used to ask her, "Grandma, why do you love that necklace so much?" And she would smile and say, "Because it reminds me of love that never fades." I never questioned it further, because she said it in such a peaceful way that made me feel it was something sacred. Years passed, and when Grandma got older, she started forgetting things. Sometimes she would call me by my mother's name. Sometimes she would tell stories that didn't quite make sense. I thought it was just age catching up. But one day she called me into her room and asked me to promise something. She held my hand so tight and said, "When I'm gone, keep this necklace safe and never sell it." No matter what I promised her, without knowing that this necklace held the biggest secret of her life. After Grandma passed away, the house felt empty. She had been the soul of our home. She left behind her little garden, her worn-out Bible, and that necklace. I kept it in a small jewelry box on my dresser for months. Every time I looked at it, I remembered her smile. But one night, something strange happened. I woke up around 2 in the morning and saw the box open. The necklace was lying on the floor. I thought maybe I left it open earlier, but I knew I hadn't. I picked it up and noticed for the first time that the pendant had a tiny scratch that looked like it had been opened before my heart started racing. I turned on my bedside lamp and looked closely, and that's when I saw it engraved on the back were the words, "For M, with endless love forever. H." I froze. My grandmother's name was Margaret, but her husband's name was Samuel. There was no H in our family tree. I tried to remember if Grandma ever mentioned anyone with the letter H, but nothing came to mind. I felt this strange curiosity growing inside me, like I was meant to find out who H was. The next morning, I showed the necklace to my mother. She looked at it and went completely silent. She touched the engraving with trembling fingers and said, "I haven't seen this since I was a little girl." I asked her if she knew who H was. She shook her head, but I could see something in her eyes, something she didn't want to say. She changed the topic quickly, saying Grandma probably bought it from an antique shop, but that made no sense because Grandma never bought jewelry later that week. I went up to the attic to clean and maybe distract myself from thinking about it. I found a small wooden chest covered in dust. It had Grandma's initials carved on it. Inside were old photographs, some letters, and a dried rose. One photograph caught my eye. It showed a young woman who looked exactly like Grandma standing beside a man in a soldier's uniform. He was tall with kind eyes, and on the back of the photo was written, "Maggie and Henry Summer, 1944. Henry, the letter H." Suddenly everything clicked, or at least part of it. I found a letter folded inside the same envelope. It was written in faded ink, and the handwriting was elegant. The letter began, "My dearest Maggie, if you're reading this, it means I couldn't keep my promise to return. The war has taken many, but my heart will always belong to you. Please remember me not for the pain, but for the love that we shared under the oak tree. Yours forever, Henry." My hands were shaking. I read the letter 3 times and cried each time my grandmother had been in love with a man named Henry. During the war, someone who wasn't my grandfather. I sat there surrounded by her memories, realizing she carried a love story that no one ever knew. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying her words in my head. Love that never fades. She had said that so many times when I was a child, and now I understood she wasn't talking about Grandpa. She was talking about Henry. I wanted to know more, so I searched Old Town records and newspapers from the 1940s. I found an article about a young soldier named Henry Whitman who went missing in action near Normandy in 1944. The photo in the article matched the man from the picture. My heart sank. She must have waited for him, but he never came back. Maybe that's why she eventually married Grandpa. Maybe she needed to move on, but never forgot her first love. I told my mother about what I found. She sat quietly listening, tears rolling down her cheeks. Then she said something that surprised me. She said, "I remember one night when I was little. I woke up and found Mom sitting by the window, holding that necklace and whispering, "I'm sorry, Henry. Please forgive me." Maybe she felt guilty for moving on after losing him. I think she kept that necklace close, as a silent promise to never forget him. A few weeks later, I went to visit Grandma's grave. I wore her necklace for the first time and brought along the photograph of her and Henry. I sat by her tombstone and said softly, "Grandma, I know your secret now, and it's beautiful. I think you would want him to be remembered too." I placed the photo beside the flowers, and the wind blew gently like a quiet sigh. I felt peace for her, like she finally shared the truth she couldn't say in life. After that day, strange little things started happening around the house. The scent of lavender filled my room out of nowhere, and that was Grandma's favorite smell. Sometimes when I played the piano, I'd feel someone gently touch my shoulder, as if telling me she was still around, not in sadness, but in peace. A month later, I decided to tell her story on social media. Just to keep her memory alive, I shared the photo. And a short version of what happened to me, it went viral. Thousands of people commented about how love never truly dies. How their grandparents also had secret love stories from wartime. I realized that Grandma's love story wasn't just hers. It was a reminder for all of us that love, even when hidden or lost, still shapes who we are. A few weeks later, I received a message from someone claiming to be Henry's great-nephew. He said he found the post online and was stunned because his family always talked about how Henry was engaged to a girl named Maggie before he went to war, but they never found her. He said their family still had a letter from Henry to her that was never delivered. I couldn't believe it. He offered to send me a copy, and when it arrived, it was written in the same handwriting. It said, "My sweet Maggie, if fate takes me away, promise me you'll live fully, because my love will follow you in every sunrise, every smile, and every song." Reading it felt like Grandma's story finally had its ending. She did live fully, she built a family she loved deeply, but she also carried a silent part of her heart that belonged to Henry forever. I kept both letters together inside a glass frame near her picture as a tribute to their love. Months went by, and one evening, as I was closing her old jewelry box, I noticed something inside the lid carved faintly with a knife. It said, "Until we meet again." My love. Maybe she had carved it herself, or maybe Henry did before giving her the necklace. I'll never know. But that inscription became my favorite part of the story, because it wasn't about sadness. It was about eternal connection. Now every time I wear Grandma's necklace, I feel like I'm carrying not just her memory, but also her courage, her loyalty, and her heart that loved without boundaries. Sometimes when life feels heavy, I touch that necklace and remember her words. Love that never fades, and somehow I find peace again. Years later, I told this story to my daughter, and she asked me if Grandma ever told me who Henry was. I smiled and said no, but I think she wanted me to find out myself, because some secrets are meant to be discovered by love, not by chance. And that's the story of the necklace, the one that carried generations of hidden emotions, a story of war loss and undying affection. It reminds me that behind every quiet smile, there might be a whole world of memories that we know nothing about. Maybe our grandparents, our parents, even we ourselves carry small pieces of stories that we never share out of fear or pain, or just because words aren't enough to explain them. So if you ever find something old in your family, something mysterious like a letter, a necklace, or a photograph, don't ignore it. It might be whispering a truth that has been waiting for years to be heard, because sometimes love hides, not to be forgotten, but to be remembered in the right moment by the right person. Whenever I walk past Grandma's portrait, I feel her eyes following me, not hauntingly, but lovingly. Like she's proud that her secret is finally safe in the open. She always said love that never fades. And now I understand it was never about keeping secrets. It was about keeping promises. Love doesn't end when people do it. Lives on in stories like this, in necklaces like hers, and in hearts like ours. And maybe somewhere out there beyond time and distance, Grandma and Henry finally found each other again under that same oak tree where their story began. And this time, they never had to say goodbye.